Sonia McCree, Senior. I worked on Dungeons and Dragons Online, which is a property by Standing Stone Games. And what I did basically was I showed up and I was like, hey, I don't know anything about gaming. Can you teach me? And they were nice enough to say yes, or making games rather. I started out doing dialogue and doing text edits for different quests and quest giver NPCs and just general background characters because I'm an English major, so writing is what I know. And after they proved that I was kind of competent, and after I got a little more experience, like learning the ropes and seeing how things work, they moved me on to doing random encounter work, scripted interactions with characters and monsters that are randomly generated on the landscape. Yeah, so I was doing that for most of my time at the internship and balancing that with dialogue responsibilities. So I have been writing stories and various like poems and stuff like that since I could learn to read, probably. And so when I came to BU, I really wanted to get involved with a writing environment so I could learn more about it. And Creative Writing Club definitely has helped me with that. And I think that interest of mine, just from like writing and creating worlds and everything in general, and my time talking to the other people at CWC has probably given me a lot of experience that I think helped me to get that internship just because they saw that I had an interest in making worlds and making stories and writing characters.
My name's Ivy Hedberg, and I'm the president of the BU Creative Writing Club. I am studying advertising. I sort of am focusing on the creative side of it, so art direction courses and copywriting classes mostly. I think the fact that I have been interested in creative writing for so long sort of taught me to think through things in a different way, like not just take the first idea I had, but to think about things and approach them from a lot of different angles. Like the thing I'm always told in my classes is you should generate a list of 5 or 10 ideas before you start making choices. You should never just stick with your first idea because it's always the most obvious one. It sort of holds true in creative writing as well. So I guess I got used to, at an early age, my hobby being a little bit more cerebral. It's like a really pretentious sounding word, but just sort of being in my own head and thinking through things and working through things. I think that helped me sort of set myself up for the way I need to organize myself to do advertising work. It's funny because when I first started writing, I was mostly doing it because my aunt, who's like a few years older than me, and I looked up to a lot as a kid, she was writing and I was like, well, that's super cool. She's writing her own stories. I'm gonna do that too. And now that I'm older and looking at the things I do and the things I take interest in, it feels very appropriate that I ended up being interested in writing at an early age. Um, right now, I'm very into Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm DMing a campaign, which basically means I'm writing the story for it, I'm coming up with characters, and doing all the writing and groundwork and coming up with a world and adventures for my players to go on. And to plan it, I've been using like all the same tools and software and tricks that I use to plan short stories or novels. It's interesting because I started reading all this advice about like how to be a first-time DM and make a good story and run an interesting campaign, and a lot of it came down to like, don't be afraid to tell a story, and I was like, that is the only reason I'm here, are you kidding me?
Hi, I'm Rachel Thomas, and right now I'm a graduate screenwriting in the Screenwriting MFA program here at BU. So back when I was an undergrad, I was an English major, and I'm president and co-founder of the Creative Writing Club. You know, writing is always what I've wanted to do, especially, you know, these big-scale, sprawling novels and feature movies and stuff of that nature, and that's just not something I was really getting, you know, in my studies. I was an English major, so I did a lot of analysis, which has also been helpful, and I took a few creative writing classes, mostly poetry here, but there really wasn't that space to explore, you know, big, sort of, you know, popular mediums, the stuff that I'm really interested in. And Creative Writing Club gave me a place to do that. It showed me that there are other people who are just as interested in that, and it really gave me my first place to sort of talk about that and pursue my ideas and, you know, realize that I really wanted them.